I tried to do a drum roll, but it didn't work. Hi guys, Laticia here from HOLGRO. I'm joined by Louise. About to call you Marie Leslie. Don't know where that's come from Evolve Yourself Institute. I'm really, really honoured to have you on this workshop with us, but we just spent 10 minutes having a little catch up before we went live, and she had me in tears. She's just so intuitive and so beautiful and just so on point. So really, really honoured to that you've decided to give us your time and give everybody else in HOLGRO land and beyond a taste of your magic. So I want to launch into you. What is it that you do at EYI Global?
Yeah, so at Evolve Yourself Institute, we play in the field of self-discovery, which is pretty core at the centre of our delivery in all our programs. We love educating people around their technology, and I kind of frame up the technology of our body, our mind, our emotions, our spirit, and we integrate very practical processes and activations on how it is that we can harness our best version of ourselves using these incredible tools and processes, I suppose looking through the lens of education, meditation, breath, movement, and supporting people to be able to show up. I don't know.
And I think something you just said really resonated for me. Harness the tools that we're given. So right now people are experiencing heightened emotions, heightened stresses on their bodies and their minds, those thought loops, that confusion, that fog, whatever it might be all of them. But I don't know about you. I think I know the answer. For me, there's beauty in that because, as you said, when you harness those tools, it can create a pathway to growth. Tell me how you go about harnessing those tools and how it can be a really important part of keeping hope, but then a pathway to transition.
Yeah, I love that. The transition and the keeping of hope can sometimes be lost in the overwhelm. We're seeing a very hyper-aware collective at the moment. And often our central nervous system is being triggered by media, by what people expectations, what people are saying, even our fear of our own survival. And the very organism, the great organism of the human body is a very, very advanced piece of technology. I get my latest iPhone and I don't know half of its capacity, but hey, listen, look into the lens of your mind and body, and you've got a very sophisticated organism. And so the invitation when we're exploring the inner dimensions of our mind, body, and emotions, we start to, I suppose, bring that lens inward. And then the availability of a person being able to understand what the operative system on a fundamental level, and then exploring practices that express the vessel to its optimum self. And unfortunately, when we're triggered by the environment of stress, overwhelm, dis-ease, which we're seeing quite a lot of, they can be fabulous doorways into, I think, fundamental care, and that's that inside processes, activations, and experience. And so the seed has been watered, and sometimes we don't know that that seed's been watering because of the chaos of the mind. And the proverbial mind wants to take us to places. It goes here, it goes there, it catches, and it takes us downward spiraling into these little feedback loops that really is quite toxic to the organism. And so
to everything.
Yeah. And your wellness is really affected. Mental health is at an amazing space of deficit at the moment. The feelings of isolation, the overwhelm, which clouds itself in expressions of depression. Well, to offer that space of hope is the awareness that there are tools, there is attention that we can give, and there is an explorative, I suppose, inner scientist in your own self, ready and waiting to maybe explore your organism a little bit more deeply. And that there is no greater time. There is no greater time. I stand in that voice very strongly, in that there right now is, you have no control over the environmental processes and what everything's going on in the world. And we're getting thrown from one to another, and everyone's, well, it's an invitation.
You can't control it. Yeah.
But you have the availability to actually bring on that self-regulation within your inner world. And when you do that as an individual, you then have amazing influence over the world that you see, you cultivate, and you produce. And whether it is in your own home, whether it's in your bedroom, you have an amazing influence over what perpetuates from that point of awareness. So we love sharing tools and practices to make that happen. I mean, just imagine living a more, I suppose, aligned life, not spinning off into those little corners that really do feel overwhelming. It's not to underestimate that people are suffering at the moment. And I suppose the greatest asset is that this work can be done on your own. But it is the most rewarding work you will ever do. And
yeah,
I love that.
I mean, we're being forced to stay inside, so you may as well go inwards and really focus on the only thing you can control, which is, as you're talking about, all of these beautiful gifts and tools that we have been born with. And I guess this is, as you say, it's not about minimizing what anyone is going through. It is about, we want to meet people where they are at and honor that, because that's the other thing. I think we've been taught to hustle so much, particularly in business, that we go. We're being forced to stop, and the body's going, what the? You know what? No, we want to keep going, and people are just they want to keep going to that hustle and overwhelm physically and mentally, because that's what they're used to. And, I guess we want to say, we see you, it's okay wherever you're at. And, the tools that we're going to be sharing with you, not only in your sessions, but the other sessions as well, is about, let's just take some of that pressure out of that pressure cooker, let the steam out a little bit, and let's just calm down, because the nervous system, for many, many people right now, that's on high alert with all of those awesome hormones running that fight or flight. It's very exhausting. So those practical tools that you're going to share, I might get you to share some of those tools if you don't mind, because you're first up, you're number 1 in our workshop, which starts next Thursday. So tell me about some of the tools that you're going to be teaching people in that first session.
So we're going to dive in on the first session to the power of breath. And although you might not think that you need to concentrate on breathing, it is an incredible, influential tool to become aware of. Because when we become aware of our breath, we can start navigating our thoughts, feelings, and sensations. And what's beautiful about breath practice, or conscious breath practicing, is that we bring alive the availability of our conversations with our central nervous system. And just like you've highlighted so beautifully, is that the central nervous system is, or the center of the organism is really affected by those fight or flight responses. And it is not sustainable for a body-mind to be on the reflex of the fight or flight response. And so learning conscious breath practice as a training process, you are inviting your ability to master the organism at its very core of being. And there are certain practices that are available which really do go to the core of your central nervous system. And it can change your life, just becoming aware of where your breath is right now. It can really stimulate the healing capacity or the regenerative capacity of developing your immunity. And although these practices have become quite sensationalized over the last, or most recently in the last 10 years, but in the 70s they were really highlighted beautifully as well. But they've been played in, I suppose, some spiritual practices for thousands of years. But the technology in which we can share today is expressed in a language that is for the human now. And learning practices, powerful practices around breath, allows a person to start navigating the inner system. So we'll be highlighting the great benefits of a conscious breath practice, inviting you to explore that tool and maybe open the pathway of some curiosity to invigorate. Recognize that you have the ability to turn on your regenerative and restorative processes at your parasympathetic level. And so you'll definitely walk away with a tool that you can engage with now. And, just like any athlete in the world, they train before they go onto the field of whatever medium they're going to be competing in. We can do the same with our life experience. Unfortunately, breath has kind of started to go into feedback loops, especially in the modern world, into feedback loops that are, I suppose, creating a deficit to the system. But when you were born, you breathed eloquently and you actually grew limbs. You didn't have to tell your body to do so. It's an amazing space of intelligence. You just have to allow it to, I suppose, reverberate the intelligence that it truly is. And
I think what would be beautiful starting off, and we decided that starting the whole series with this breath work would be the perfect way to get people really landed in their bodies, really just calming in, being able to calm down in all aspects and just be able to, I guess, give themselves a little bit of a break. Because I think people are being really hard on themselves right now with all that fear and that feeling of scarcity of what next. I've got to make a decision. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. We'll just bring everybody down so we can set the next 6 weeks up after that to be able to hear and unwind and get to a point towards the end where they're feeling much, much more calm. But like you said, the practices are instantaneous in terms of how quickly you will feel at ease, and just a little exercise really quickly. If you become conscious of asking yourself, where am I breathing into, my chest or my stomach? Like, that's an instant reminder to take the breath out of the chest, because a lot of people do that when we're anxious. We automatically breathe there. So I like to say to people, just breathe into your belly. That's the quickest and fastest way to become conscious. You might have another tip that's even better.
I know that's foundational, actually. But recognizing those where we do limit our breath, and whether when we're excited or fearful or any of those kind of things, they happen on a very subconscious level. And in your awareness development, you kind of discover, and then that beautiful breath down to your belly, you just really letting go of any of the rubbish you've collected throughout the day. And I think that belly breath is probably the first one we're going to kick off on.
Yay, I'm looking forward to it. Well, thank you again. If anyone wants to check out the work that Marie does, head to evolveyourselfinstitute.com.au.
It's
Have I remembered that?
EYI.global, but it is, you'll be able to find it on
just Google that. we'll put the link in the post anyway, but yeah, and make sure you register for next Thursday. The sessions are all recorded, so if you can't come to our live sessions, that doesn't matter. Once you register, you'll be sent a link to sign up to the platform, which will give you access to the portal of where we'll be putting these videos up pretty quickly after the live recordings. And we'll also be doing live Q&As the following day after the sessions. So that allows our audience to jump on and ask any questions that they have. I know some of the facilitators are actually doing little bits of homework and setting activities and challenges for people. So I think it'll be a really fun, interactive space and really nurturing and calming. So thank you so much for being part of this.
Oh, look, it's a great pleasure, and a big congrats to the work that you're doing, Laticia. It's a real honour to be part of the process and part of the sharing, and give yourself a big pat on the back for actually coming up and making it happen. It's amazing.
Well, let me see if I can do this. We'll give this to both of us. Can you hear it? You're welcome. I can't believe it worked. That was amazing. Here, Bella. I'm going to have a hoot with these little decks of sound things. So thank you so much, and we look forward to everybody jumping on next Thursday. But we'll be bringing you more lives and videos of the other facilitators during the week. So thank you. See you all soon. Thanks, Marie.
Thank you.
I have no idea if that